Warning: this material has been reproduced and communicated to you by or on behalf of Tabor pursuant to Part E of Division 4 of the Copyright Act 1968, the Act. The material in this communication may be subject to copyright under the Act. Any further reproduction or communication of this material by you may be subject of copyright protection under the Act. Do not remove this notice.
I cannot say just how many times people have requested that I respond to Coyote Peterson's videos.
First of all, Funnel Web Spider Bite, a systematic review of recorded clinical cases. Jeffrey Kisbister, Michael R. Gray, Corinne R. Baylett, Robert J. Rabin, Barry J. Stokes, Kate Porges, Alan S. Tankel, Elizabeth Turner, Julian White and Malcolm M.C.D. Fisher. Funnel web spiders are the most dangerous spiders in the F world and continue to cause severe envenoming in eastern Australia. They belong to the family Hexathlidae Atracinae and comprise about 40 species in 2 genera, Atras and Hadronichae. Although some species are well known, many have not been formally characterized, and species identification can be difficult. It should be undertaken only by expert arachnologists, using both morphological and distributional attributes. 12. As bites that cause only minor effects are rarely published or correctly attributed to expertly identified spiders, it has been difficult to determine the rate of severe envenoming for different species. For example, the suspected envenoming rate of the Sydney funnel-web spider, Atrax robustus, is 10%-25%, but this may be confounded by the inclusion of trapdoor spider bites as non-envenoming bites, as trapdoor spiders are often misidentified as funnel-web spiders, and by publication bias of more severe cases. So in my numum abstract animal of species. Second of all, objective to investigate species-specific envenoming rates and spectrum of severity of funnel web spider bites, so basically and the efficacy and adverse effects of funnel web spider antivenomant. It's a shame that apes arbitrarily cannot talk to the leopard like they can talk to other species. Basically technology machine. Data sources cases were identified from a prospective study of spider bite presenting to 04 major hospitals and 3 state poisons information centers, 1999 to 2003, museum records of spider specimens since 1926, NSW Poisons Information Center database, Medline and Embase search, clinical toxinology, textbooks, the media, and the manufacturer's reports of antivenom use. Data extraction: patient age and sex, geographical location, month, expert identification of the spider, clinical effects and management. Envenoming was classified as severe, mild, moderate or minor/local effects. Envenoming was classified as severe if 3 or more features of systemic funnel web spider envenoming were present from at least 2 groups, as defined by autonomic effects, diaphoresis, salivation, lacrimation, piloerection, meiosis, mydriasis, cardiovascular effects, hypertension, hypotension, tachycardia, bradycardia, neurological effects, oral paresthesia, muscle fasciculations, muscle spasm, or pulmonary edema. Mild to moderate if there were less than 3 defined features of funnel web spider envenoming, or regional neurotoxic effects only. Weird or minor or local effects only were not prescribed upon admission if the cases were classified as asymptomatic, 1.2%, or if the pain had ameliorated or was considered mild and tolerable. Antivenom was used in only 2.3% of the cases, 2 severe and 8 moderate envenomations, requiring 20 to 50 ml, median of 25 ml. Of these 10 cases, only 2 of the patients were more than 10-year-old, 54 and 63 years. None of the patients developed any early reaction to the antivenom. Percent of cases, most of which predictably. In conclusion, accidents involving the genus Phonotria are common in the region of Campinas, with the highest risk groups being children under 10 years of age and adults over 70 years of age. Cases of serious envenomation are rare, 0.5%.
We just draw the pipette down the tips of the fangs. They are hollow just like a hypodermic syringe. And by drawing that down as she's producing that venom, with just 250 to 400 males in any one year that we will have to milk every single day right through the year to keep up with the quota we need to give to the Commonwealth Serum Laboratories.
And in your opinion, would you say this is the most dangerous spider in the world?
Definitely, definitely. You really do not want to get bitten by one of these.
Questions you might have. After I teach a signpost lesson, will students really be able to spot whatever signpost they've just learned? Stop and notice and note is dangerous? Probably not. The lesson transfers responsibility to the student gradually. The student will accept that responsibility even more gradually. Keep the chart listing the name of the signpost, a brief definition, the feature they should look for in the text, and the question they should ask themselves posted on the wall for the entire year if necessary. Also, you might distribute the notice and note signposts bookmark for students to keep with them as they read. The front of the bookmark reminds students of each signpost, and they can use the back to jot down the page numbers where they've spotted signposts if you don't want to use the signpost log. Templates for the bookmark and log are included also in the appendix. Thus when you're reading and the character asks himself a really difficult question, you should ship and ask yourself instead of any of the other directions in the 360-degree spectrum that it could YouTube subscribers. Every single my channel. But what does this case turn make me worried about the first place? The answers will tell you what the conflict and might give you ideas about what will happen later in the story. If students didn't seem to understand the text clue or need some review, what do? We suggest following up with a mini lesson that retakes or reviews the lesson. Now we really do mean mini lesson. At the end of each of the lessons in minutes ago, we offer some other texts you can use for these much shorter lessons, 7 to 10 minutes. How do I know if they are finding the signposts when they are reading independently, perhaps in books I haven't read myself? If students are reading different books, ask them to show you what they've found. You must do this just with small groups, or with individuals. Doing it with the entire class would leave too many students sitting idly by, waiting for too long. The signposts we found back in Now Here Beak about believe for the first time while thinking about the questions covered in missing. We began reading the books listed on pages 4 and 5. We were looking for text features beyond those we all already teach, such as the importance of titles, characters' names, setting, and the opening lines that would help students read passages closely so they might better understand the text. We did indeed find features worth teaching, features we now call the notice and note signposts. We then wrote a single question for each signpost that students should ask themselves once they notice it. Somehow shares those signposts, the anchor questions, comments about teaching the signposts, issues regarding assessment, and questions you might have.
That's not as much as I thought was going to come out of there. I could see why you guys have to milk so many of these spiders to build up a vial to create that anti-venom.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as much as you're going to get from one of our venomous snakes in Australia, but it does show you how potent it is. It's only a little amount that does a lot of damage.
The Australian Reptile Park is the only sanctuary of its type in Australia that has a spider and snake venom milking program. And the good news is that their anti-venom creation has been saving thousands of lives for over 50 years.
The accidents were classified as asymptomatic when the patient presented no local or systemic manifestations, mild when there was pain and other local manifestations eventually associated with tachycardia, and restless, moderate when, in addition to the above manifestations, there was sweating and slash or occasional vomiting, and severe when the responses above were associated with profuse sweating, frequent vomiting, muscle hypertonia, priapism, shock and slash or acute pulmonary edema. 13. In most cases, there was insufficient information to allow the inclusion of arterial hypertension or hypotension as an important manifestation in the above responses. Similarly to the review of funnel webbing venomations, please stop, don't touch. Is it dangerous? Introduction. Ulnar nerve, UNCAT1, occasionally receives additional communication from the C7 root. The unique anatomical course of UN in the upper limb is accompanied by approximately 5 sites of narrowing, predisposing it to compress Zion neuropathy. A rich literature testifies for various anomalies in branching, course, and of nearby structures that can predispose to compression. This article elaborates upon a unique case of tardy ulnar palsy, affected by an anomalous course in previously untreated lateral epicondyle fracture. The point of CM is the secondary maladaptive changes in the course of UN in the arm that could have been one of the contributory factors to compression neuropathy. In this case report, a 56-year-old, right-handed, man presented with right cubitus valgus deformity, 30 degrees, along with weakness and numbness over the right 4th and 5th digits, since 1 year. The fixed flexion deformity was around 45 degrees, figs 1 and 2. In the first decade of life, the patient had suffered a malonite fracture of the lateral epicondyle of humerus. The shoulder joint and its muscles were normal, and biceps power wash good, while the triceps had a power of 4+, Medical Research Council, MRC grading, but it could not overcome the fixed flexion deformity. The ulnar innervat forearm and palm muscles were found to be comparatively wheeler, with power of a flexor digitorum profundus slip to little finger and MRC3 for flexor carpi ulnaris, FCU. There was complete palsy of the forcus security. Thanks for watching this video.